Hey everybody, KC here. So I wanted to revisit very quickly yesterday's FaceTime in which I talked about how some companies are creating the role of Chief Purpose Officer in their C-suites. And this is based on an article I read in Business Insider, and the idea is that a Chief Purpose Officer is there to sort of define and then spread the word about what a company's purpose happens to be throughout the organization. It helps companies deal with burnout. It makes them more attractive when they're doing recruiting, allows them to retain employees, that sort of thing. And I got some pushback on this and it was basically centered around the idea that perhaps in companies that have chief purpose officers, maybe the real problem is the CEO isn't doing his or her job. And I think that's a completely legitimate observation and criticism of the idea. Fact of the matter is, Sam Walton never needed a chief purpose officer. Howard Schultz never needed a chief purpose officer. Fergal Quinn, who I talked about yesterday, never needed a chief purpose officer, because these were leaders who understood the purpose of the organizations, and part of their job was to make sure that it was spread throughout the DNA of the organization. Some people do it better than others. But I think it's a completely legitimate observation to say that maybe the existence of that role within an organization means there may be a weakness someplace else. By the way, how do you tell a CEO, you're really not doing that part of your job, we're going to bring in a chief purpose officer? Might be a hard conversation to have. But here's the one thing I think that I did get right, which is that people within organizations, from the very top to the very bottom, have to understand what the purpose of the organization is. They have to have that somehow in their bones. They have to feel invested in it, because that's the only way they're really going to be successful. That's the only way the organization can be successful. Understanding purpose, understanding the history of an organization, understanding priorities, and then understanding what you need to kind of do to live up to those things. And by the way, being rewarded for doing a good job living up to those things is absolutely critical within a successful organization. I'll stick by the statement I said yesterday, which is every organization has to have a North Star. North Star is purpose. North Star is priorities. North Star is a commitment to the things that got you where you are and are going to allow you to continue to achieve and to be successful and be both resonant and relevant to your customers. That's got to be the North Star, okay? And it's up to the CEO to do that. I think that maybe having a chief purpose officer is not so much an admission that they need another layer of bureaucracy, but maybe it's more of an admission of defeat. Worth considering. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this morning, and as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.